what is life? What are the necessary characteristics or qualities or ingredients for us to accept living beings as fully developed life or regard as living beings? It's a very difficult subject. People have different opinion. Religious groups, scientists, and some other philosophers give different interpretations or definition. So the question is, what is a living being? A single cell, organism, sperm cells, planktons and other microscopic germs and organisms, living being. Are plant life also considered living being? I think we have discussed all these subjects occasionally when we were discussing the difference between Buddhism and other religions, scientific interpretations. But here, we can start from the very beginning, the definitions of life. Scientifically, life was originated first time on this earth. In the water, one cell. Living beings is known as amoeba. So according to the theory of evolution, or Darwin's theory, this is the origin of a life. Earlier, Hindu philosophy has given very meaningful interpretation of reincarnations of God on this earth from time to time. But when we analyze, we can understand, although they try to interpret this as incarnations of God, actually, this is the way how they have interpreted theory of evolution that they have realized few thousand years ago. I know you have heard, even then, better to repeat. It is mentioned in Sanskrit, 4 stages, how living beings come into existence. And according to them, first life originated in this world or on this earth in the water. Matsya kurmo varahascha nrsimhocha vamana rama ramasa krishna Buddha Kalki. These are the 10 names or the incarnations of God. Do you know, according to Hinduism, for our general knowledge, this is very important. They too have 3 powerful gods. And these 3 gods are responsible for the whole universe. Brahma, Vishnu, Ishvara. Their duties are, Brahma is to create everything in this universe. Everything comes from Brahma. So this concept of creation, or everything is created by God, was not a new theory or new belief discovered by Christians and Muslims and others. Few thousand years ago, other religionists also preached the same doctrine. So this is not a new discovery. So to them, everything is created by Creator God. At that time, few thousand years ago, they used the word Brahma, creator. But his duty is just to create. There are some parents who just produce, they never look after their creation. And Brahma just create. Then they have discovered another God who look after his creation. His name is Vishnu. Even Buddhists also pay respect to this god as one of the bodhisattvas or devas. In many Buddhist temples you can see the statue of Vishnu. They also do some offerings and worship, accommodated into Buddhism as one of the bodhisattvas. So his duty is to look after everything that which exists in this universe. Then they have discovered another god called Ishvara. Shiva, there is another name, Shiva. Shiva or Ishvara. This god is a very powerful god. And he is the most dynamic god who can destroy everything in this world. So destructions take place when this particular god gets angry. That is why people always worship and pray to please him and not to get angry, although we make mistakes. So one day, if destruction take place, that particular god is responsible for it. That is his work. They say they can burn the whole world by using his third eye. It is here. This development of third eye also accommodated into Buddhism. But in the Buddha's teaching, we cannot find such thing that there is another eye called third eye on the forehead. Lobsang Sampa has written so many books, lot of exaggeration, fantastic interpretation he has given in his publication. They say according to Tibetan Buddhism, people can gain extra eye here. Actually, this is a very crude form of interpretations of psychic power, development of psychic power, mental development. They have transformed into another eye. So this Ishvara got this one, they say. He burned the whole world by using this one. The fire come out from here. Now this is their belief. Again, when we refer to their God, what they say, because these informations are very important for us to compare Buddhism and other religions, other philosophy, and what they talk about the world and the life and the situation. They say, Paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya cha duskritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. This is also in Sanskrit. The God says, Paritranaya sadhuna. What is the purpose of his appearance on this earth by taking different form as reincarnation? Now here the answer. Paritranaya sadhuna, to protect good people, religious people. Devas or God always protect good people. Vinasaya cha duskritam, to destroy those wicked people who disturb others. Dharma sansthapanarthaya, for the establishment of dharma or righteous way of life. Sambhavami, appear, yuge yuge, from time to time. That is why the God appeared on this earth by taking different forms for this purpose. And what are those 4 incarnations now? First, life appear in the water as Matsya. Matsya means fish. So the first life is the fish. So modern science also tells us the first life was amoeba, one cell, living being. Right. Then the second incarnation, Kurma. Kurma means turtle, tortoise. Turtles can live in the water as well as can come out from the water and live on the earth. Tortoise can live water as well as on the earth. To us, it is nothing but the evolution, development of the life which was originated in the water. Then the third one is Varaha, four-legged animal, appear on the earth first time. And that animal is nothing but pig. Yes, your good friend. Very ancient animal. First four-legged animal which appear on this earth. All the other four-legged animals came later. And the fourth one, Nrsimha. Nr means Nara. Singha means lion. Half human, half animal. Animal means lion. The physical body, that means the head, the human head, and the body is an animal's body, like lions. This is the way how they try to introduce the evolution, how evolution has taken place. Then the fifth time, the God appeared as fully developed human being, two-legged, and the muscles, and the brain, all the physical structures were completely developed. But he was not cultured or civilized or religious or intelligent. The physical development without the development of intelligence or proper mental faculties. Then the sixth time he appeared as Rama. Rama is a well-known figure in Hinduism. Rama and Krishna, these two names. So many Hindus, even today, pay respect and worship to Rama and Krishna. Rama was very playful, very humorous, and cultured, but still not very intelligent. Then the seventh incarnation has taken place as Krishna. Krishna is very intelligent, religious-minded, very cultured, and he has given a doctrine, a philosophy, and the Bhagavad Gita and so many other books were written by collecting certain sayings. They say given by Krishna. Eighth incarnation. Then the ninth incarnation is the Buddha. Further development of that intelligence, knowledge, wisdom. So they too admit the Buddha is more intelligent, more religious-minded, and wise person than all the other incarnations that appeared in India. But this interpretation we cannot find in the Buddhist literature or in the Buddha's teaching. The Buddha has never mentioned that he is an incarnation of any god. This is the difference. So what happened? At the beginning, they tried to ridicule and oust or condemn the Buddha and his teaching. The reason is, the Buddha has given or introduced entirely a different interpretations of the existing dharma or religion without following the same age-old traditions and beliefs and customs. So many Orthodox Indians could not tolerate this because he condemned animal sacrifices. To them, that is very important. He condemned caste distinction or discrimination. To them, it is in their religion. And he condemned discrimination shown to women, but it is in their religion. Women were not allowed to enter even a place of worship. And he did not believe that by performing religious rites and rituals and worshipping and offering, anyone can find out final salvation. But this was their common belief at that time. He did not believe that by performing sacrifices, animals and burning so many other things just to please their God, they can find out salvation. So all these new interpretations had become a big blow to existing Indian religion. That is why they had to go against the Buddha. But later, when they realized, many intellectuals, understanding people, started to appreciate and accept the Buddha as a true religious teacher. Now they have given this interpretation. They have accommodated Buddha into their religion and given a due place. In other words, they wanted to swallow, absorb the Buddha into their religion and introduce the Buddha is one of their gods. And we are happy about it. We should not go against them. They pay respect. Every Hindu worship, respect the Buddha because of this interpretation. Otherwise they never worship him. This is not the end. This is also very interesting. The Buddha was not the last incarnation of God. They say there will be another one. His name also given. It's called Kalki. Before the end of this world, before that powerful God destroy this world, the incarnations of God once more appear in this world. But they too admit, even God also cannot control the mankind. They have divided the whole world cycle into 4 periods. Started as cultured, civilized, religious, understanding human being. Then started to develop cruelty, cunningness, selfishness, anger, jealousy, grudge, and evil forces in the mind. Then goes on developing more and more evil forces in the mind, but not the good thoughts. God also cannot stop this. One who created human beings also cannot stop this. So this period, this is the last period. They say this period is called Kali Yuga. Yuga means period. Kali means dark. Dark period. So we are living in a dark period. So whatever method we adopt, by introducing religion or science or philosophy or punishing or torturing people, it is very difficult to train human mind. More and more corruptions, immoral, cruel, dangerous things appear in time to come. Already started. Certain unimaginable cruelty, immoral things that we have never heard when we were young, or our parents or grandparents who have never heard this kind of dirty, wicked, cruel thing. But in the modern society, such practices have become very common. People do not take seriously because it has become very common. And this situation aggravates, develops more and more. And modern education also supports, because this academic knowledge without proper discipline, without proper moral background and job-orientated education, everybody is learning, aiming at a job to get a big salary. But that was not the purpose of education in those days. The purpose of education is to train human mind, teach them how to live as cultured, harmless, respectable human being by observing certain principles and good qualities. So today, this academic knowledge diverted directly towards gain more and more income. Then jealousy, competition, tension. We develop these things. So this education never support to train human beings to live in this world as real human beings. No one can stop this. Religions also they use only for the name's sake, for some other purpose. Kali Yuga, dark period. Right. Other religions also talk about this. Christianity also says second coming of Jesus before the end of this world. I think all these ideas originated one particular place. Later they have borrowed from here and there and changed. Then Buddhism also says the Buddha who appeared in this world 2500 years ago was not the last one. The Buddha says within one world cycle from the beginning and up to the end, there may be few Buddhas, 1 or 2 or 3 or 5. It depends on their qualities. How far they have cultivated their good qualities to become a Buddha. No one can produce a Buddha. No one can appoint another person to become a Buddha. Just like studying medicine to become a doctor. A doctor cannot appoint his son as a doctor if the son has not studied medicine. But today you produce a lot of Buddhas and you find out their birthday also celebrate. When you like to have a nice makan, you celebrate the Buddha's birthday. As if that you have written the Buddha's horoscope to find out his birthday. So all these are your own discoveries. Anyway, what the Buddha says, he also divided the whole world cycle into 4 periods. Beginning of the world, the formations of this earth, formations of living beings and things on this earth. This is the first period. Second period, the things that which come into existence, whether planet or earth or life or matters or element, whatever it may be. Their nature, their characteristics are natural. Changes and decay and disappearance. These 3 things can be seen in anything that which appears. Nothing is exempted. The humans or devas or any other living being or matters or elements appear, then change. After changing, decay. After decaying, death. Then disappear. Then the second period is decaying period. Going on decaying and decaying. Earth also going on decaying. Planets also going on decaying. Elements and other things also going on decaying. And today scientists have discovered nucleus, electron, neutron, protons and so many things. Combinations of these nucleus, elements also started to decay. Changes take place the whole world because of these changes. And there is nobody behind these elements or energies to handle all these things. So many others introduce, all these changes take place because of God. But this is natural. There is nobody to handle it. The Buddha is the only one who says like that. Those who cannot understand how these things take place, refer to God. God is responsible for the creation, changes and everything. Then the third period, destruction. Earth, planet, sun and the moon anything that exists in the whole universe. Decay and disappear, dissolve, disintegrate. But not at once. Different sections of the universe. This is only a tiny, like a small sand. When you compare with other planets, piece, just floating. To us, this is a very big thing, because we do not know how to compare. Now let us take the sun. Even small children also know that sun is 60,000 times bigger than this earth. Imagine 60,000 times. What about the other planet? How many thousands and how many millions times bigger than this? But everything is subject to decay. Appear, decay, disappear. Third period, disappear. We take only this one. There will be a period that we cannot find any more earth or this globe or this world here. No more. So this is not a permanent place for us to live. But others say when God, their God, is fed up, He will destroy them. The Buddha said there is nobody to destroy. Destructions take place naturally. By worshipping, praying, crying, worrying, you cannot stop this. Then the last period, emptiness. After this destruction, this area that we take, earth or atmosphere, no more. Empty period. That emptiness also not permanent. So what happened? All the dispersed particles never disappeared completely. Molecules, energies, gravity, magnetic powers, all these forces again support these particles to get together, combine together. Accumulation takes place. When accumulation takes place, slowly, then development takes place. We cannot point out in terms of years how many millions or how many billions. Time in memory. But definitely, one day, not within one day, after some time, the formation takes place. After this formation, again start new period. This is the interpretation given by the Buddha. So, within one circle or cycle, sometimes one Buddha appears. But he says we are actually very fortunate. Within this world cycle, 4 Buddhas have already appeared. One more will appear in time to come. The name also given there, called Maitreya. Then why the Buddha is important? We always say, simply by worshipping or praying to Buddha, we cannot find out our final salvation. It is true. But we worship because we like. We gain happiness. We feel it is our duty. We like to honor Him. No one can say it is wrong. It is very important to us. But we cannot please the Buddha. Please remember, by worshipping Him, you cannot please Him. He never asks you to worship to please Him. He says, I'll be very happy to see you how you practice what I ask you to practice. That is enough for Him. But we like to worship, no harm at all. Very good. Why the Buddha is important? Buddha is important to diagnose our mind. Others cannot do that. God cannot do that. Pacceka Buddhas cannot do that. Arahantas cannot do that. Any saint also cannot do that. Only a Buddha. So when he wanted to tell us something, he knows our understanding capacity. He knows what we can understand. He knows what are the hindrances, problems, obstructions. have taken place in our mind. So he can remove those hindrances from our mind and directly he can preach us. That is how people get enlightenment, attain sainthood, arahanthood. It depends on the technique of the Buddha's preaching. This is the only place where Buddha is important. No, because nobody else who can do that. So now we are handling his teaching blindly. Now I am talking. You are listening. I cannot understand what you really want to know. I cannot understand how far you can grasp, you can catch the idea that I am expressing. And I do not know your problems, the difficulties for you to understand the Dhamma. So I am preaching blindly. But in the case of the Buddha, at once he can understand even millions of human beings what they really need. That is why sometimes when people come and ask certain questions, the Buddha, see whether this person can understand the meaning, answer. Then he comes to know that this person cannot understand. So he keeps quiet. He doesn't want to waste his time, knowing the mentality. By force he cannot open the mind. He can give the ideas for that person to grasp. Though he must have sense of reasoning in his mind, then can understand. Then, now, three religions here. Hinduism says, second coming of their last incarnation of God. Christianity says, Jesus will come back. Buddhism says, another Buddha appears before the end of this world. So every religion accepts there will be an end to this world. No control. Only difference is, some others say that God will destroy this one. Before that, you must accept our religion. It is a monkey tricks to convert people. You must accept our religion, otherwise you have no salvation. Buddhism never preaches like this. Whether you are Buddhist or otherwise makes no difference to us if you know how to live respectable, noble, harmless life. That is what the Buddha wants. Then, the life. How life was originated. Again, different religions give different interpretation. So without any reason, God created us. And we cannot understand why He wanted to create us. So according to them, we never had previous life. This is the only life. He has created us. They say He is very kind to us. Well, when you observe the whole world, actually we cannot see that kindness or compassion or all the good qualities in His creation. Every living being is struggling for survival. Every living being is struggling to escape from death. It is a big battlefield. Every living being is trying to catch another living being and swallow. And it is a big battle. One tried to escape, the other one tried to catch. Is that the way that they experience their pleasure, happiness because of His creation? Again, day and night they had to work like slaves to find out their food and clothing and medicines and to get rid of sicknesses. And why should we suffer? What do we gain in the end? So what is the meaning of this creation? I remember one poet has written a very good poem in Hindi language in India. He says, we were taught that God has created us. Yes. We can understand because of His creation how we suffer. And we do not know why we should suffer like this. For what purpose? And what do we gain in the end by suffering like this? Are we not suffering here in this world because of His creation? If He kept quiet without creating us, there is nobody to suffer here. So what is the big idea of His creation? In spite of all these things, He also asks us to worship and pray. That I cannot understand. Why we should do that? Creating us to suffer like this, and after that He also asks us to pray and worship Him. This poet says, I cannot understand why we should do that. See how people think. So we were created by God. Accept. Very easy to understand. Then the second question comes, why did He create us like this, to suffer like this? That is not your business. God knows that. You should not ask that question. This is their answer. Your duty is to suffer, that's all. Then another group says, there is no such person in this world as God who create anything. They are very highly intellectuals who cannot satisfy with this concept of God. They say, here in this universe there is a universal consciousness. Universal consciousness is not God. Then all these existing living beings and things are the particles or the units of the universal consciousness. And their movement, changes, their activities take place because of that universal consciousness. So when they disappear from this earth, again goes back to individual person, goes back to their universal consciousness. Came from the universal consciousness, again go back to the same consciousness. There are many who believe this, but they don't use the word God. In the Hindu concept, just now I mentioned, Brahma created everything. He allowed this eternal soul, Atma, to transmigrate for a certain period. By using it, we pollute, we dirty. Fighting like this. Rajo Haranang, Rajo Haranang, Rajo Haranang, Rajo Haranang, Rajo Haranang, going on, rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and reciting and reciting. That is concentration, meditation. So after rubbing and rubbing and reciting, he found out. At the beginning, this piece of cloth was very pure, white. After rubbing and rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, he found out it's become very dirty. Rajo Haranang. Raja means dirt, Haranang means remove. The Buddha advised him to recite, remove the dirt, but he dirtied the whole thing instead of removing. Then he realized, by using this mind, by using our words, by using our action, doing certain things, what we do, we dirty our life. We pollute the purity of our mind. The thoughts, the word, the action, dirty. In the Buddha's teaching, Pabhassarmidang bhikkhave chittang tanchako agantukehi upakkilesehi upakkilittang. At the beginning, when this conception takes place in the mother's womb, that mental energy is very pure. Our mental energy. Karmic energies are separate section. Here talking about only the mental energy. At the initial stage, our mental energy is very pure. Then who polluted this? Tanchako agantukehi upakkilesehi upakkilitta. When the five senses started to develop, when the mental faculties started to develop, we absorb so many external things into our mind and polluted the purity of that mind. Now let us take a small baby. Everybody like this baby. Like to hold and sign and kiss. Right? Because this baby is innocent. Anger, cruelty, jealousy, grudge, enmity, those evil forces not yet developed in that baby's mind. But potentials are there, ingredients are there, but not yet developed. Now because of that, everybody likes this child. But when this child grows up, say about 10 to 15, 20 years, how many people are going to silence them? Because some become cruel and cunning and criminal-minded, dangerous, wicked people. But when that person was a baby, so nice and sweet. You know about your own children, how nice they were when they were babies and how good they are now. Then who taught them? Father never taught, mother never taught. So many things they have collected from outside. And also their previous birth, their own mental faculty, their mental habits give the idea to be cruel, to be cunning. That is what the Buddha says. When the mother's womb, when conception takes place, our minds are very pure, very innocent. Later we pollute it. So by using this, what we are doing, we are going on polluting. So here Hinduism says that eternal soul created by God, we pollute by using it. So as long as that pollution take place, that soul also remain here. Some of them, by realizing this, try to purify. Now that is called religious way of life. So religious way of life is for us to purify our life, to avoid so many dirty things. So when that soul is completely purified, the Creator God, Brahma, stop that transmigration. No more. No more rebirth. Absorb into the same Brahma. They say union with Brahma. That is the final goal. Nirvana to them. So came from Brahma, when it is purified, again gone back to the same Brahma. Final salvation. And this belief was very strong in the whole country when the Buddha appeared. The Buddha did not accept this belief. He rejected three things here. That's why people could not tolerate the Buddha's way of teaching. First thing he said, and this life was not created by another person. Na idang atta katang bimbang, na idang parakatang agam. Hetung paticca sambhutang, hetu bhanga nirujjati. This is the same. How the Buddha analyzed this. Na idang atta katang bimbang. This life was not created by you. But you are responsible for it. So many other factors, elements, energies, ingredients are responsible for the formations of this life. And you are one of the factors. Your karma is another factor. Your mental energy is another factor. So he rejected this. Not created by you. Naidang parakatang agam. This life was not created by another person. Either God or Brahma or any other supernatural living being. And then who created this? He gave the answer. Hetung paticca sambhutang. when necessary ingredients, energies, elements and factors combine together as a bundle. You must analyze one by one, then you can see. To understand this, you have to study. Simply by believing something you cannot understand. What are those elements and factors and energies? And how they get together, how they combine, how they exist. As long as they exist as a bundle, this life also remains as a man or woman or animal or any other forms of living being. Hetu bhanga nirujjati. When those factors and energies which were combined together disintegrate slowly, nirujjati, disappear again. It is natural. There is nobody behind. This is the Buddha's teaching. See how he has analyzed. Again he said, there is no eternal soul created by anybody. This is only a misinterpretation of human consciousness, because they do not know how to analyze this human mind. The Buddha has given the analysis. See vast differences, interpretations given by the Buddha. So, thinking people, wise people can appreciate and understand what the Buddha talk about, our life. Now, the answer to this question. I had to go, don't know how many round around the whole universe to answer this question. In the Buddha's language or Pali, we use the word prana. Panatipata veramani. Prana or pana, Sanskrit and Pali. And all those living beings who breathe, breathing is called prana. You know, there's one exercise, especially in Hinduism, it's called pranayama, pranayama. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Deep breathe and deep. Going on is a meditation called pranayama. Prana means breathing. So all those living beings who breathe are known as prana. But Buddhism cannot satisfy with this interpretation, because there are some living beings who never breathe. Human beings, animals, yes. There are some others. So our interpretation is prana means combinations of psychophysical process and elements. Then we have to analyze psycho aspect and physical aspect. So definitions of the mind, what are the ingredients and faculties and energies in the mind? How these energies combine with the existing elements. So when those two groups join together, fully developed life come into existence. But certain living things appear where we cannot find all the ingredients, all the mental faculties. Such living beings we cannot accommodate as fully developed living beings. Now let us take, this question says about this one cells and what you call bacteria and germs and virus and so many things, whether we can regard them as living beings. Impossible. Because we cannot find all the mental faculties and all the elements. Only certain aspects can be seen. So there is nothing for us to worry, because there are extremists among Buddhists also who do not like to take even antibiotic. They kill bacteria and germs. It is against Buddhism. That's what the Buddha said, don't go to extreme. To practice a religion, don't go to extreme. Don't become religious fanatics. Lead a normal life. Otherwise your way of life becomes nuisance to all the others. Then plant life, another big controversy. Even scientists also argue plant is a fully developed life. But Buddhism cannot accommodate plant as a fully developed life, because many things are missing. We have 4 mental faculties. Now, how many mental faculties can we find in a tree? We have sensation, perception, mental habits and consciousness. Among those 4, we can find a lesser degree of sensation. That's all. All the other 3 mental faculties are no more in a plant life. That is why the Buddha never talked about plant life, not to destroy them. But he advised the monks for various other reasons, for their protections, precautions, decent way of life, not to destroy plant life. But lay people as householders, there's no such restriction that you should not, vegetable or plant. Then, rebirth. A plant life or any other kind of living beings where we cannot find all the mental faculties cannot have another rebirth, another existence of the same life. Because rebirth takes place due to our mental faculties where we have accumulated wholesome and unwholesome thoughts in the subconscious mind. If such wholesome and unwholesome thoughts are no more in our subconscious mind, there won't be another existence or rebirth. Now the Buddhas, Arahantas, Pacceka Buddhas never get another rebirth because they have emptied their subconscious since they have no craving. Now let us take animals like cats and dogs and all the other living beings. They too have very strong craving. They have strong anger. And they too have jealousy. So all the mental impurities we can find in animals' mind also. See, although they are reasoning, understanding, intelligence are very, very limited. Some animals are intelligent. Their instinct is very advanced than human beings. You cannot catch drugs and what you call dada and opium and all those things without dogs. Their sensitivity is very strong. So, no one can say that they have no rebirth, because they too have all the mental impurities. So rebirth, but plant life, impossible. Then, all the other minor things that we mentioned here in this list, we cannot accept as fully developed life. Cells and virus or bacteria, certain aspects of life processes we can see in them, but no other mental faculties. Then it is not a fully developed life. Feeling or sensation you can find in them, but that is not enough. So when we practice this religion, sometimes we experience a lot of problems, suspicions, whether we can do this, whether we can destroy this, whether we can cut this or burn this, thinking that it is against the teachings of the Buddha. By knowing this problem, the Buddha has advised not to go to extreme. Even unintentionally, you may kill or destroy any kind of living being, including human beings. We have not created an idea in your mind that you want to do that. It is impossible for you to create any bad karma. Again, amongst those karmas, what we commit during our lifetime, All these karmas we can divide into two groups. Pravritti vipaka and patisandhi vipaka. This is also very important. One groups belong to pravritti vipaka. That means good and bad effect we experience while we are living here within this life. That's all. Certain karmas. And certain karmas, good and bad, effect we experience patisandhi vipaka, which can condition or create or effect after our death in the next life. Now see the difference now? But all these karmas we do not carry forward for the next world. Either we pay or face the consequences, if not, evaporates, all distinguish, disappear after our death. But certain karmas, under any circumstances, we cannot wipe out, we cannot stop. We have to face the consequences either in the next birth or at any time as long as we exist in this cycle of birth and death. Again divide into two. Certain karmic effect, good and bad, we can experience only in the next life, but not here or after that next life. If the effects we did not experience in the next life, and those karmic effects also disappear, cannot carry from next birth on. This is the nature of karma. And the third group, first we divided into two, this life and the next life. And again we analyze into three. Another group remain forever, follow us just like our shadow, cannot escape until we face the consequences. Why? Certain other good and bad karmas hinder their effect. If we have very good karmas and the bad karmas keep quiet, no chance to affect you. When the good karmas are weakened, then the bad karmas get the chance at any time. This is the nature of karma. If not, although there are certain bad karmas in your waiting list, by using your effort, energy, understanding, by leading a noble life, you had the chance to attain sainthood or arahanta. After that, no more rebirth. Then all the remaining good and karmas, no more. No chance to affect. There were many murderers, thieves, wicked people. After committing so many bad deeds, but later they changed their way of life by realizing. Led very noble. Of course, they had their previous experience, what they had accumulated during their previous life, but due to certain unforeseen, so unknown incident, circumstances, environment, bad companion, they have done certain bad things. They were misled. Now let us take Angulimala. He was a nice boy, but he was misled by his teacher, asked him to go and kill human being. He did that just to obey his teacher, but he really did not want to kill. But later he met the Buddha and realized this killing is bad. He gave up, become a monk and attain arahant. Just like that. Can change that way of life by leading a noble religious life. So you should not surrender yourself thinking that everything that you had to experience according to your karma. Karma is not the only thing. Your ignorance creates a lot of bad things. You have to face the consequences. Your negligence creates a lot of mistakes, shortcomings. You have to face the consequences. Then, your hasty conclusion to do or not to do certain things create a lot of bad effects. These have nothing to do with your previous karmas. So the Buddha has given this advice also, not to surrender yourself, thinking all these things take place due to your bad karma or due to your own karma. The present circumstances, your way of life, also responsible for your good and bad experience, pleasant and unpleasant experience. Karma is not the only thing. I think it's enough. It's nearly 1.5 hours.